everybody. Um, Here with us tonight, we have Tanika Harris here to talk to us. So take it away if you're ready.
I am. Hello, everyone. It is good to be here. Thank you so much for having me. Full disclosure, I am working off of multiple screens. So if you see me doing this, I'm doing a few things and I'm trying to keep my 12-year-old from coming in my room and banging on the door because I locked it. So I just want to put those disclosures out now. First of all, just thank you, Noah, for inviting me to speak. Second, what I want you to know, I'm your auntie, your sister, I'm your cousin, I'm your friend. Therefore, this is how I'm going to speak today. And I'm from Pittsburgh, and so there are two ways of speaking in Pittsburgh. You have the folks that say y'all, and then you have the folks that say yens. I'm a y'all. And so you will hear that today. Please do not be alarmed when I change tenses throughout this presentation. I believe in being as comfortable as possible. And so this is not a one-size-fits-all presentation, so please feel free to chew up the meat and spit out the bones. It is quite okay. The second thing, next, I want you to know I am a woman of faith. Now, I apologize if I say something that may be offensive to someone on this call today or viewing later. Every single thing that I do and I say is related to my authentic self. It is my story. Now, I promise I do not intend to offend anyone, but it may happen because I am an imperfect human and I mess up every single day. Every single day. This is my truth. Don't worry. I have no intentions of converting anyone or making you believe what I believe. That's not my assignment. I am going to love you because that's what I'm called to do. I'm called to love even when I don't want to. So I'm going to love on you because I'm your auntie and your sister and your cousin and all of that. Okay. So promise we are not going to be on here long. It is 9 p.m. East Coast time where I am. I don't know where some of you are viewing from today. This does not have to be that long. I joked with Emily prior to this and I said, I love TED Talks, 18 minutes max. I said, can we do a T Talk, like TEE? She said, okay, well, Tanika, what would it stand for? I said, I don't know, I have no idea, but so this is like my TED Talk for you all. So we will not be on here long. I want you to know who I am. I'm a teen mom with 3 children who have 3 different last names. I've spent majority of my life proving to the world that I was not a statistic and that I was not a product of my environment. I really wanted similar things as others, which was to be loved. I loved love and I believed in love. Now, I made some serious mistakes raising my 2 older children. I was young and I did what I thought was best for them and focused on being financially stable. But my babies, they just wanted their mommy. They didn't care about what I could buy them or where I could take them. They cherished every single moment they had to spend with mommy, even watching a movie, eating popcorn, knowing that I was going to fall asleep at least halfway through the movie. Now, in another pursuit to find love, I ended up blessed with my 3rd child, who was affectionately known as Jerry. It's Jeremiah, aka Jerry, hashtag Jerry's World. That's who he is on Instagram. What in the world was I supposed to do with Jerry? How was I, Tanika, a teenage mom from Garfield Heights housing project, supposed to raise a Jerry? Jerry was born into this world through extreme pain, abuse, and other traumas. When I realized I did not have the strength or the aptitude to properly care for my child, I prayed and I asked God to take Jerry and do what God does best. And my situation did not immediately change, but my mental and emotional state began to change and a transformation occurred. From that moment on, I began to make decisions that would positively impact Jerry. Now, my other 2 children are much older than Jerry, and they absolutely and understandably have felt resentment towards the way that they were raised versus the way Jerry is being raised. And what I've shared with them is that I am a different person, and Jerry is being raised by another mother. This mother is mentally well, whereas the mother who raised them suffered from childhood trauma and mental illness. And this is my truth. In the midst of some vulnerable moments is when I began to understand the importance of being self-aware. I began to view myself as a human being, just like others, but just with a different narrative. I spent so much of my life trying to assimilate into a culture that was never designed for a Tanika. Once I began to focus on being self-aware is when I began to stop apologizing for who I was, and I began to disrupt the culture. I am a disruptor, and I no longer apologize for operating in truth. Now we add albinism to the equation. So I am raising a Black son with albinism who desperately wants to be normal. Now, whatever that is, please let me know. If you know what that is, please tell me, put it in the chat, whatever, because to this day, I still have no clue what normal is. But that is what he is on the verge. That is what he is seeking. So that's just a quick intro into who I am and how I've evolved and why this topic is so important to me. I want to do a couple exercises with you. So I want you to know I do not have you all on my screen, so I can't see you at the moment. But for those of you who are watching this later, I want you to do this with me, and I don't need to see you. Just want to know that you're doing it. This is a perspective exercise. So I want you to take your pointer finger, and with your pointer finger in the air, I want you to turn your pointer finger and make a circle going clockwise. And I want you to look up at it. And so I'm doing mine right now. So I'm looking up at it and continue to take this finger going clockwise. Now I want you to, as you're still turning clockwise, I want you to slowly bring your finger down and keep watching it. I know I'm going clockwise. You know you're going clockwise. Continue to bring your finger down more and more. And you may not be able to see my finger anymore, but I'm now looking on top of my finger. And now what I see is my finger is going counterclockwise. And this is a very elementary example of perspective, but this right here just really deals with our point of view. So my point of view is different. As I'm looking up at my finger, I'm going clockwise. But my point of view changes as I look downward at my finger. It's now going counterclockwise. And the reason why I want you to do this, because I want you to understand the simplicity and the urgency of us having proper perspective. And proper perspective is nothing else than your point of view. Here's a quick story that I have. One of my staff members, we were out having a lunch meeting, and he brought up Simone Biles. And for those of you who aren't aware, Simone Biles is one of the most decorated gymnasts, athletes, went to the Olympics and decided to pull herself out because she said she was not mentally prepared to continue. And she felt she would be a harm to her team if she continued the way she was going. She later decided to do the balance beam, and she took a bronze medal with that. So that's in short. And so my staff member said to me, T, yo, tell me, what are your thoughts on Simone Biles? Like, what do you think? And those kind of questions always make me laugh because I think it's loaded. But because I'm an authentic person, I'm going to give you my authentic perspective. And so I said, I'm proud of her. What she did was hard. She took one for the team. And he said, what? What do you mean she took one for the team? How can you say that, T? Like, come on now. She gave up. She quit. Like, how do you go from actually, practicing and working hard for this moment, and then you just throw it all away? Like, that's what it's about. You gotta just keep persevering. You gotta move forward. And so the inside of me, the real Tanika, wanted to like strangle him. I'm just like, how dare you? Oh my gosh, like you are so insensitive. Where is your empathy? And so I said, okay, Tanika, you have to check yourself. Check your privilege, girl, because I have wisdom that he does not possess. So his point of view, he's a former athlete. He has no children and he's a man. My point of view is I'm a mother who has experienced mental illness and abuse. So that's the privilege that I have to be able to understand Simone's story. I had to check myself and to really understand his point of view. Now, is he wrong for his point of view? Is he a bad person? Am I wrong? Am I an enabler for siding and defending Simone? No. But the hard part was to really sit in it, to really have empathy and understand his point of view. But then through that conversation, I shared that it's okay because you've never experienced mental illness, so you would not understand. But I hope that since you are now working with me, you'll gain empathy for those who struggle with mental illness. That became my why, and I'm going to come back to that. Have another quick activity for you. So if you're able to, you can write this down. You don't have to. I'm not going to quiz anyone. There's no right or wrong, but this is something that I want us to go through together. Now, I want you to grab a visual in your mind and think about individuals, right? So you can either have the name, you can see the persons, whatever it is. I'm going to ask you this. I want you to think of individuals who you have lunch with on a regular basis. What individuals are your frequent contacts in your phone, like for calls and text messages? Who are your friends on social media? Who are your accountability partners? Who are your mentees or mentors? Who makes you laugh the most? Who comforts you when you're sad? Now you have that visual, you have the names. If you wrote the names down, that's fine. I'll go back and say them again. I want you to grab this visual in your mind of a person, persons who you have lunch with on a regular basis, are your frequent contacts in your phone, your calls and text messages, your friends on social media, accountability partners, mentors or mentees, people who make you laugh, and people who comfort you when you're sad. So now that you have the images of individuals, the names, faces, whatever, I want you to ask yourselves, how many of those folks specifically, how many of them are of a different social economic status than you? How many of them are of a different race than you? How many of them have a different belief system than you? How many of them have a different sexual orientation than you? How many of them speak another language than you? How many are of a different age than you? Again, I'm not asking you to share it. I want you to process it. And I want you to sit with your answers. Now, I participated in this exercise over a decade ago. Wow. It's been well over 10 years. And very few people on my list who made me feel safe or in my inner circle fit any of the categories that I mentioned. I then made it my business to change that narrative. How do I gain a different perspective if I don't have access to others? I had to expand my community even when it was unfamiliar. And when I say community, I'm not just speaking of geographical space. I'm speaking of community of interest, community of action, people, and also a place. How do I expand that? So real quick, another story. I'm a storyteller, y'all. Here I go with the y'all, told you. Jerry, my son, who is a person with albinism, who is a preteen. He will be 13 in a few months, and he reminds me every single day. He's reminded me since he turned 12 last year, and he's now reminding me that he'll be 14 next year. So, Jerry has access to so many individuals. He plays basketball. He plays AAU basketball. His team just won a championship over the summer. He's a musician. He's a drummer. He now makes beats. He's going into the production side. He's understanding all of that. He's a graphic designer. And so I made it my business when I wanted to expand my community. I said, my children will be a byproduct of that as well. And Jerry has access to people who are award-winning authors, award-winning musicians, athletes. And I wanted to expose him to as much as possible. I work at a church. I'm the director of ministry at Macedonia Church of Pittsburgh, which is one of the largest African-American churches in Pittsburgh. We have 3,000 active members, and there's a whole lot more on the roster, but but there are 3,000 active members, 3,000 active members that I interface with. And so because of my position at the church, it affords Jerry different opportunities as well. And the members in our church include presidents of some of our local colleges and universities, athletes, other individuals who hold political offices, people who are the who's who of Pittsburgh. I know, don't laugh, y'all, but Pittsburgh, we got some stuff going on. And because of this, I made sure that I explained to Jerry, you are so privileged. And he's like, what do you mean, Mom? How can you say I'm privileged? I'm legally blind. It's a struggle. I have social anxiety. Like COVID just almost took me out with trying to do remote learning. I couldn't see my screen well. I had headaches all the time. How dare you say I'm privileged? And these are real conversations we've had. And I pushed back with him and I said, you have access to so much that others don't have access to. Now I empathize with my son. And I explained to him, it is so critical to check your privilege so that you can have empathy for others. Because even when the world was closing down, Jeremiah had a mother who made sure that he had everything he needed in his room. He had a desk. He has all his percussion instruments. He has a drum set in his room. He has a bigger monitor to help him see well. He has neon lights that glow up. He has a keyboard that glows up. He has his Acrobat. He has his globe, his magnifier. He has everything he needed to be successful. And I needed him to recognize that and understand his privilege. So that way he was not complaining and fussing about him not being able to do this, him not being able to be in the building, him not being able to, because there were other children who had a lot less and were expected to do way more. That is why I'm always reminding him to check his privilege on a daily basis, not to make him feel bad, but so that he can have empathy. My goal for Jeremiah is to be able to to have an impact in this world. How else do you have an impact in this world if he's not self-aware? I bought my son this t-shirt, and I hope you can see it. It says, boys will be boys. And if you can see where the second boys is crossed out, and it then says good humans. So growing up, I heard that phrase. Oh, it worked my nerves even when I was a child. Boys will be boys. Boys will be boys. Oh, it's okay. Oh, it's don't worry. He pushed you in the locker. It's okay. Boys will be boys. It's okay. Don't worry. He knocked you off your bike. It's boys. You don't know how boys are. Boys are rough. Boys will be boys. No, that is a lie from the pit of hell. I am not just raising a boy. I am raising a good human being. That is my goal. Boys will be good human beings. That is what I want him to know. Now, I wish he could still fit this shirt, but he can't, but I'm not giving it up yet. I have 5 grandchildren. I'm thinking about passing it on to, yes, I have 5 grandchildren, 5 of them. I may pass it on to one of them, but I'm not sure. But what I really want you to know is that I purchased this shirt because I knew that my why is largely based on being a good human being. So therefore, everything that I do is birthed from that why. Simon Sinek, if you're not familiar with him, I really would love for you to look him up. Simon, last name is Sinek, Sinek. He has a lot of information, some TED Talks. I told you I love TED Talks, and books that focus on the why. And he speaks on this golden circle. And this golden circle, it's a fictitious circle, but I like to do some visual things here too. So the golden circle is a circle with why in the center. And then on the outskirts are the words what and how. So you have why in the center and then what and how. And the idea is quite simple. The idea is that we should always start with why. But the problem is our familiar is what we often start with is what. We often start with what. And then we move to how. So what is it? How are we going to get it done? And then sometimes we go back to the why if we're challenged. Like if somebody challenges us, and then maybe what we'll do is we'll develop the why or make the why fit into what we've already created. And what I want you to know is my why is being a good human being. And that is how I choose to raise my Black son. There's no surprise that we are raising children with albinism, and we have children with albinism in our community, in our circle. And they have a uniqueness to them. I've shared with Jerry that he was born to stand out. And there is a calling on his life to be a change maker. I have to speak words of encouragement over him because my Black son will grow up to be a Black man. And unfortunately, his existence is already set up for failure. So my why is to ensure Jerry is a good human being no matter what. No matter what others may think, no matter others' perspectives of a Black boy with albinism, no matter how many people who are like Jerry that are in his inner circle, Jerry will always be able to stand on him being a good human being. That is my why, and this is my truth. Remember, to whom much is given, much is required. And the much does not mean a lot of. The much can be little, but whatever your much is, whatever you have given, whatever you've been given, you are then required to share, to grow, to empathize. You are required to start with your why. I love y'all, and there is nothing you can do about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tanika. We have recorded this session. I just want to let everyone know that so that people can either watch it again or people who missed it could watch it. And I think what you said is so important for everyone to hear. I was almost tearing up during it, actually. That was so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing those words with us. And we just appreciate you so much at NOAA.
I appreciate you all. And Carla, I'm now back on Zoom. Yeah, Jerry, he loves your son. He has such a good time with him. NOAA has been life-changing for him. But and that's something I did not highlight a lot of in it, but just knowing that I wanted Jerry to understand that him even having access to you all, having access to NOAA, that is a privilege because there are so many who don't. And we tripped up on NOAA. We found NOAA by accident. You just happened to be in Pittsburgh, and Lori just happened to have just the favor of God on her to let us in when everything had closed, because we were literally driving her crazy maybe a week before NOAACon was about to start. So just understanding, I really want to make sure that he understands those things. And through NOAA, we were also able to be connected with Envision Blind Sports. Jerry just had the time of his life staying on a college campus for a whole week at a local university, Slippery Rock University, and they did over 25 sports. He was horseback riding. I can't afford for my son to go horseback riding. I would have never been able to do that for him, not right now. And so these are the things I want him to understand. So you speak on that, Jeremiah. You share that with other people. Don't just sit and hold on to it. So Yeah. So I'm really done. I promise I'm done. Hi, Sheila. I heard other people coming in, but hi everybody.
Yes, thank you so much everyone for coming, and thanks again, Tanika. That was amazing, and we are really, really all so privileged to have Noah in our lives, and that's something we should never take for granted ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.